And we are back here with another video today. Today, we are looking at our Notre Dame 2026 prediction video. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach my goal of 6,500 subscribers by, let's say, the middle of July. We are 6,427 as of this recording. So you guys have been smashing that subscribe button recently. I appreciate it. My Notre Dame hype video, it's well over 7,000 views now. So thank you guys for watching that, for liking that, and for subscribing. So because of that, I'm going to come out with another Notre Dame prediction. This is going to be my final one. So make sure that you like the video if you enjoy it. If you are a Notre Dame fan, comment your thoughts and opinions down below. I will be doing game-by-game predictions for every game this season, or at least as many as I can. So make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button down below, because I've already started working on thumbnails and content for those videos. So if you're a Notre Dame fan, I will have weekly predictions out for you guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you never miss another video. Let's get into it. So first game of the year, road game. Well, neutral site game up in Green Bay. Technically, this is the home game of the back and forth series with Wisconsin. Because technically the one in Chicago was the Wisconsin home game, and the one in Green Bay is the Notre Dame home game. I don't really know why that is, because that doesn't really make sense geographically, but that's not important. This is going to be a win, I think, for the Irish. I think them playing Luke Fickell is just not a great team. I think Luke Fickell has been one of the biggest disappointments as a college football head coach in my tenure of doing predictions. If you've watched this channel at all, you know I was really high on Luke Fickell, like 100% was high on him the entire way. So the fact that he's bombed out this much, like, I'll be the first to admit it. I expected this to be a close game when it was played. And it just doesn't look like it's going to be out that way. If it is, then I'm going to be very frustrated, because unless if Wisconsin's really turned it around, that is not a good look. Then a home game against Rice. I think that you continue the winning streak here. I think that you get an easy win here. I'm not going to go that much further into it because we got a lot of other games to cover. Home game against Michigan State. When I was doing my Michigan State preview, I learned a lot about Michigan State football, Pat Fitzgerald, the quarterback situation, everything that's going on there. And hearing from the Spartan fan base, they are excited about where the trajectory of this program could go under Fitzgerald. The problem is that they think that Fitzgerald is going to win 7-8 games in this first year. I don't see that at that Michigan State program. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because if that is true, this could be a much more competitive game than people think it is. It is a home game. It's at Notre Dame. And second of all, what I do want to say is that Michigan State-Notre Dame rivalry, please continue it. I want to be playing Michigan State in Michigan. To be frankly honest, at this point, I think it is something that I really want to get. I'm not an advocate for joining a conference by any means, but I would very much like to change our association from the ACC to the Big Ten, because the teams in the Big Ten are just 10 times more competitive matchups. Other than Miami, who's on the schedule this year, who else are you going to play that's any bit competitive? You have Clemson on the schedule already, so even if Clemson has a down year, I still think Clemson is one of the best teams in the ACC. Florida State and Miami and Clemson are probably gone in a couple of years anyway, or not in a couple, in a few years when realignment restarts at the end of the decade. So I think they're gone anyway. So I think that Notre Dame will be maybe not joining the Big Ten, but changing their association football-wise, those 5-6 games that they schedule a year with the ACC now with a team like that. And honestly, what I see it as personally, and I know this is going to maybe ruffle some feathers depending on what generation of a Notre Dame fan you are, I see Michigan State as a replacement for Stanford. Stanford growing up for me, like in the early 2010s, when I was really starting to become a fan of Notre Dame, and because nobody in my family is a Notre Dame fan. So when I was becoming a fan of Notre Dame, what I see here is a Notre Dame team that Stanford and Notre Dame, those those middle David Shaw years, oh, that was such a great rivalry. And I think that it's something that with Michigan State, there's going to be those ups and downs in that rivalry. So I have that as a win. That's a long-winded way of saying that, but I have it as a win. Then a road game against Purdue. This is a blowout. I think Purdue is the worst, or if not one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. I could be wrong, and maybe they're closer to middle of the pack or lower third. Maybe they're closer to 15th or I'm sorry, not. Yeah, no, maybe they're closer to like 12th or something like that, but I just don't think they are. I think they're horrible. I think Notre Dame gets a win, similar like they did a few years ago, 66-7. I think that that's not outside of the realm of possibility. Then a road game against North Carolina. North Carolina is coming off of bye week. They did get the Wisconsin transfer quarterback to come over there to Chapel Hill, but Bill Belichick, I don't think has it figured out at North Carolina. I think that he is probably going to get let go or retire at the end of the season, because I just don't think that he is working out at UNC. And I think that UNC made a mistake in hiring him. I was iffy on him. I could have seen him working out, like defensively being good, and a weak ACC working out. But even in a weak ACC, the teams that are in their area of Duke and North Carolina State and Wake Forest just all look better than them. So an easy win there. Home game against Stanford, that team that I mentioned before anyway. I think that you win there against Stanford. And to be frankly honest, I really hope this rivalry doesn't continue, because this is just becoming a blowout game for Notre Dame every year. The last few years, let me just read off some scores: 49-20, 49-7, 56-23. Lost in 2022, 14-16, and then beat them the year before that, 45-14. So that means, other than the one year that you lost spectacularly badly, with Drew Pine at quarterback. So I do give Marcus Freeman some credit for having a guy like Drew Pine at quarterback and still finding a way to win 9 games with that bowl game win. But either way, win there. Then road game against BYU. This is going to be one of the big games of the season, if not the possible biggest, depending on how good Miami is. I think that Miami is going to be a better game. I think it is going to be a fun game. But here's the thing. Miami is a lot more likely to be inconsistent, to be up and down than BYU is. I think BYU is a guaranteed top 15 game. I'm not 100% sure about that about Miami. Just look at Miami at the end of the season last year and the end of the season the year before. They had some screw-ups, or maybe not the end of the season, but the middle of the season last year and the end of the season the year before, where they were going to make the playoffs. They're number 3 in the country, and then lost, and all of a sudden they're out of it. And Miami is just a team that I think is going to be good, but I could very much see being bad. Either way, talk about Provo. I'm very excited about this matchup, because BYU and Notre Dame last time they played, with Michael Mayer at tight end, and Drew Pine, obviously, that game all those years ago before the Stanford loss. I think that you get a win. That one was one of the Shamrock Series games. I think that you do beat BYU here. I just think that Notre Dame has a better offense, more dynamic. I don't know what the running game is going to look like in a game like that. I think the offensive line is going to be good, but I think that Notre Dame is going to much more rely on the passing game to get quick points on the road rather than rely on a running back. I could see a lot of Anais Williams in this game coming out of the backfield as a wide receiver threat. But yeah, I think that you're going to lean on your guys, whether it be at tight end or wide receiver, or guys out of the backfield in running back position. So win there. Then a bye week, and then you play Navy. I think that this is another win. It's also another game that I would like to not see every year. It's not that I don't want to play Navy. I very much do, but I would be okay with having it in a rotation with like Army, and playing those two teams both every 5 years. So like playing both of those two teams in 2 different years in those 5 years. So like, let's say in year 1, you play Navy, and in year 3, you play Army, and then you don't play anyone in year 2, 4, and 5. Like I don't love playing a triple option team, because Not that Navy's going to beat you, but that wears and tears on players. It really does. Ask any football player that plays a triple option team, especially at like the high school level. It's more, you see it more often, especially with small schools trying to compete with the upper level schools that just have more resources. But in the college game, it's just not worth it playing them every year. I think Notre Dame has an advantage against a team like Navy or Army because Navy and Army could make the playoffs one of these years. I don't know if they will, but they have years where they spout off an 11-1 year, and with both of them being in the American Athletic Conference, I think that those two teams are very capable. If they spout off a good year, they are going to be that group of five team in the entry. Then the next game is against Miami. I think that this game is a very, very close game because even though I said all those things about Miami being inconsistent, I personally don't think they will, but I could see them doing that. So, like, I'm not saying they will. I'm saying that I think it's possible. So either way, a win there for Notre Dame. I think that CJ Carr, I think the offensive line, like just think about the offensive line that Notre Dame is going to have, particularly like you look at Will Black on the right left tackle, you're moving in guys like Anthony Knapp and Charles Jagusaw, who you thought were like your two your two tackles. But Knapp is a great left tackle if one of the tackles gets injured, especially if it's Will Black. Gertie Lambert at right tackle is also a phenomenal piece. And then defensively, I think Notre Dame just has some better pieces in the front seven than Miami does this year because Miami lost a lot of pieces in that front seven. Think about guys for Notre Dame, Boubacar Traore, Drake Bowen, and then especially that backfield. When you're looking at a Don Schuler and Leonard Moore and Mark Zachary and Tay Johnson, like you're just looking at a bunch of guys that are just, they're beasts. They're beasts. Home game against Boston College, easy win here, no problem at all, easy win. Then a home game against SMU. This is one of the most interesting games of the year, and I think one of the most underrated games of the year. The most underrated game of the year is going to, I think, be a road game against Syracuse, because a Syracuse road game at the very end of the year is exactly what happened to Miami. And don't let Notre Dame get tripped up, because that's the type of stuff that is going to possibly happen. Is this Notre Dame team going to leave it? No doubt. And also, like, is Notre Dame's 11-1? But I think they beat SMU. Let's put it that way. I think they beat SMU. Let's say Notre Dame beats SMU and then plays at Stanford, and then they lose that game for inexplicable reasons, because Marcus Freeman has had some of those games against worst opponents, against like a Rice, when he's lost to Stanford and Marshall and Northern Illinois. But don't let – and to be fair, Notre Dame should know Steve Angeli's a darn good quarterback, and if he stays healthy, which he should, like, it was a freak injury. I don't think it wasn't like a consistent thing where it was like this hamstring nagging him the entire year, that it was like in and out. Is he going to play? So I think that Notre Dame finishes the year 12-0, but it's Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to drop a game somewhere, because if that wasn't true, then I would like my anxiety levels about Notre Dame football would be way down, because, well, yeah, we don't have nice things. As Notre Dame fans, we all know that. There's always something to trip us up. But hey, let's go, leave no doubt, and let's win the national championship this year. Let's go Irish. Hit one of the two videos down below. One will be a podcast of all of my college football predictions. And hit that subscribe button up here, Irish fans. Help me reach my goal of 6,500 subscribers by the end of the year, completely free. As always, hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.